Good morning, everyone. Hey, Bill. What a special day. Uh, this is a pretty emotional one for our. Don't get too hot on the volume there, Alex. Um, an incredibly emotional and a day that I think we're going to look back years, I think maybe decades, and say, you know what, this was a game changer. Let's hear it for our friends at the Leaguers. Um, and we're going to. Arthur Nabi, we're going to hear from in a few minutes, so Arthur's up here with us, but this is an organization, I need not tell anyone here in Newark, this is an organization that's been changing people's lives for decades after decades. It is the oldest of its kind in our state, and I thank each and every one of the team here for hosting us. It has been a vital link to new moms and others, especially in the black community here in Newark, and to neighboring cities. And as I say, they've been doing what they've been doing longer than any other organization. And in that respect, again, I want to welcome our guests today, beginning with Arthur Raby, the Leaguer's Director of Health and Nutrition and a nurse home visitor. Arthur, great to have you with us, and thank you. To your right is Hypatia Ramirez Lala, and Hypatia, excited to have you. And is it Jose? Hesse with us. We'll hear from Hesse in a few moments as well. To my right, with two members of her team, Sunmi Adadonkan is with us. Sunmi, great to have you with us, and thank you, and two of your squad with us. And each of them, their motherhood experiences, they're here because their motherhood experiences have been improved by the home checkups offered by Arthur and his colleagues here at the Leaguers. We're also joined by the woman to my left, who I know reasonably well, the First Lady of the great state of New Jersey. Tammy Murphy's in the house. Somebody who has been a leader since moment one as First Lady on infant and maternal health matters. I thank her. She's been joined by several other great leaders. Here representing our cabinet is our Commissioner of Children and Families, Christine Norbert Beyer. Great to have you, Christine, with us. Thank you for your leadership. And we have two extraordinary leaders from our legislature, one from each chamber up here at the table with us. They know Newark well. It's their town. State Senator Teresa Ruiz to my right. By the way, here as a senator, a Newarker, and a mom. That's right. And Assemblywoman Shanique Spate is also here with us. Shanique, great to have you. We have their colleague in their district in the 29th, Eliana Pinter-Marin, Madam Chairwoman. Great to have you. We've got. I'm gonna blow this. Bill Payne is with us. Bill, bless you and thank you for everything you do for Essex County. Sharif El Nahal, Mary Maples, and the rest of the team from University Hospital is here. Again, a lot of Leaguers, teammates. Reva Foster's all the way up from Burlington County. Thank you. I see Aaron Chung in the back. Aaron, nice to see you, and a lot of other friends with us today. So as I mentioned, today we take a huge step forward in making our state the safest in the nation to both have a child and to raise a child. And I'm proud in a few moments to sign into law a guarantee to every new parent in every community for up to 3 in-home visits by a registered nurse, with the first occurring by mandate within the first 2 weeks, regardless of where your zip code or income may lay. And again, there's only 2 states in the country that when I sign this bill have a law like this in place, Oregon, and I want to give a shout out to our friend Governor Kate Brown and her legislative colleagues, but New Jersey will be the strongest of its kind in the entire United States of America. It is the most comprehensive and most robust law for no cost home visits to new parents and babies anywhere in the country. And so not only are we ensuring these in-home visits for every parent and every newborn, including new adoptive and resource parents, but also to the parents who experienced a stillborn as well. And this is importantly not just about ensuring the physical and mental health of a baby or his or her parent or parents. These visits will be, as I mentioned in an interview with the New York Times yesterday, they will be holistic. They will assess a host of the social determinants of health. Things like housing, food security, transportation access, child care planning, employment, other matters. And if a need is found, family will be provided access to supports. Research shows, this is not sort of putting your finger in the air and guessing that this might make a difference. We know this will make a big difference because we have the research that proves it. It shows that in-home nursing visits not only decrease infant and maternal mortality, but they also improve mental health, increased child educational attainment, and they decrease abuse and neglect, and they strengthen family success and economic growth. So this is not just about healthy babies, which it is about, but it's also about healthy families. Universal home visitation is critical to making our state stronger and fairer for every family. We are building on the incredibly strong start by Nurture NJ and the focus on family success and resilience of the First Lady, Christine, Senator Ruiz, Assemblywoman Spate, the Leaguers, and so many others. Last month, you may have seen, we were ranked as the best state in America in which to live. Our goal is to ensure that every community rests comfortably under that banner. And that starts by continuing to ensure that New Jersey is the best place to start and to raise a family. So with that, I think what we're going to do is go around the horn, as they say in baseball, and ask folks a few questions. And I'm going to start with the First Lady. And obviously this has been center stage in the Nurture NJ Maternal and Infant Health Strategic Plan that you've championed and you released in January, if my recollection serves me properly. How do you assess what role the universal home visiting services play in combating maternal and infant mortality in the great state of New Jersey?
Thank you for asking that question. Let there be no doubt this will play a major role. 52% of maternal deaths occur in the postpartum period. And of those, it's estimated that two-thirds are preventable. So just imagine if we are able to communicate with the moms within the first few weeks postpartum. This is a game changer. And this goes, it's not only just communicating with the mom to check on their physical and their mental health, but as Phil said, it's going to deal with wraparound services. If there's food security issues or housing problems or any other challenges, we have an array of services that can be connected to that mom and that family, and this will help fundamentally change the direction that we have been going here in New Jersey. The changes in the strategic plan are going to call for holistic change across every department, every agency, every profession, honestly, every field. And this is the beginning of what I know will make New Jersey the safest and most equitable place in the United States to deliver and raise a baby. There's a lot more I can say, but I can't tell you how grateful I am for all of those who worked on this. There were some very how shall I put it? There were some good conversations. There were some boisterous conversations around this, trying to get to the right place, and I think we have landed in an incredible place, and I could not be more proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done on this and your leadership, Tammy, for everything. So hats off to you. Maybe I'll start with Sumi and then Hypatia, just to ask each of you the same question. If you could give us a real-life sense of what participating in home visitation has meant to you and your family, and what advice would you give to other parents about participating in home visiting? Sumi, do you want to start?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sumi. So, after I had my baby, because I was visited, I didn't know I had preeclampsia, but, it came up. But because of the visits, I was like, on the alert. I was told to go to the hospital, you need to see the doctor as soon as possible because I think this is, is not the regular, postpartum, whatever it is. So I was, I rushed to the hospital. The doctor saw me. In fact, I was taken directly to the ER. My blood pressure was as high as 190. So, but thank God I'm here, I'm alive. But, I think it was because of the visitation. I wouldn't have known. I would have just been home saying, oh, it's a headache, Tylenol. It's a headache, Tylenol. And then, God forbid, because a lot of people have died because of that. So, because of the visitation, I would say I'm alive today.
Thank the Lord. How soon was the visitation after your birth?
A week.
A week.
Yes.
And that's the key, right? I think the experts here will know better than I. It's not just 3 home visits within 3 months, but the first visit must take place within 2 weeks. And that's the game changer according to all the experts I've spoken with, right? God bless you. Great to have you. One more time, bless your heart. Hypatia, may I ask you the same question, if you could? What has participating in the home visitation program meant to you and your family, and what advice would you give to other parents about potentially participating in home visitation? Do you mind moving the mic there?
Yeah, well, my name is Hipatia Ramirez Lala.
Can you get closer?
I would say I was home visited for my 3 pregnancies that I had. So it helped a lot because of the information and also the way the person who visited me was very attentive of any needs I needed. If I need any diapers or anything else, I will let her know, and she will bring me to my first visit. The first week of the visit, she will bring it to me. But it helped a lot on information because she always provided me with enough information for me to seeing if there has any symptoms or anything that I should be taking care of. Also, she would give me advice of the whole breastfeeding as well, which was also very important. And it's to me, it's a great program because especially as an immigrant mother, I would say there's a lot of immigrant families out there, especially mothers who don't have that first-hand experience like I did, and most of them, they don't know that there's resources out there that they can take care of. And unfortunately, right now, I know of a young woman that she's pregnant now, but because of I guess insurance problems or something like that, she hasn't been able even to go to the first pregnancy showing to see if how the baby's progressing and anything. So being part of the program, I think it will help her a lot, especially with information.
A couple of things. As you can see, we've spared no expense on the sound system. We borrow this from the Rolling Stones, given the fact that they're not on tour. May I ask the same question I asked of Sumi? First visit was?
Yeah, within the first week.
Within the first week. Again, this is huge.
Yeah.
And then lastly, you've had 3 pregnancies.
Yeah, actually, I have a newborn. That's my 4th.
Oh, bless your heart. Congratulations. Yeah. How old?
He's a month old right now.
Oh, my Lord. Thank you for, that's another reason we should be thankful that you've come out and joined us today.
Yeah.
Have you learned, and this is another myth that we need to bust, even though you've gone through it before, is it fair to say the visitations continue to be important even on your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th pregnancy?
Yes, because every pregnancy is different. So, yeah.
Key point here is not every birth and not every child, not every moment like that is similar. You can still learn a lot. Could I ask maybe Stephanie Lagos, could you maybe, if Hypatia is willing to give us the details, I'd love to follow up with the woman that you mentioned if that'd be okay. So let's do that. Let me switch to our, if I may, to our extraordinary legislators. And Senator, would love to start with you. You've been open about your own pregnancy, your own birthing experiences, and championing improving supports for moms postpartum. At a personal level, why is this bill important to you? And can you talk about why the universal aspect of this, regardless of your zip code, regardless of your income, the ability for moms and parents to access these home visiting services, regardless of insurance status, income, zip code, et cetera. Why is that element in particular so important? Great to have you.
Thank you, Governor. And we've heard great things and some highlighted points. In 2016, September 2016, I gave birth to my daughter, and I come from a family that I had a very supportive partner at home, a sister who had had a daughter previously, a mom, 2 running mates that had each gone through their own personal births. And the level of newness, doesn't matter what income you're in, whether you speak the language or not, whether you have a college degree, the level of newness that you feel when you come home, I can't tell you, doesn't get put at ease until you kind of have that conversation with a medical person to say to you, no matter whether you have heard it from everybody else, to say to you that what you're doing is right, or to use these other examples. I remember 2 years after that, I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, getting a presentation in 2018 from Durham Connects, which is really the program that, when I drafted the bill, was kind of modeled after. And so while I come here and I see all these new babies and I get the feels, I know all of us, we all get the feels when we come to an event like this. Today, the signing of this bill is really a labor of love, and the second child I will have given birth to in this time frame, and just so encouraged that there is an administration that recognizes the need for this. I never realized that in the space when I was drafting this bill, all of the different levels that it would help, that it would save lives. I was just thinking about that moment when my lactation nurse specialist came to the house, because I didn't know if I was feeding her. And she stripped Silver down, put her on a special piece of equipment, weighed her, asked me to nurse her, put her back on there, and said, "You just gave her 3 ounces." And for me, after that, literally the floodgates opened up. I knew what I was doing. I nursed my daughter for 4 years of her life, and just that level of comfort. And then I fell in love with, New Jersey has a beautiful and amazing home nurse visitation program. And I fell in love with that, went to the graduations, and you saw how all these nurses became an extended member of the family. Unfortunately, because of resources and the way it's structured, it only covers a portion of women in the state. And so while the bill was, words on paper and conversations with administrations and with different nonprofit sectors and the hospitals, the vision for me was always to have this in 10, 15 years from now, the same way we go to the OBGYN to get that first 3D kind of, image of the baby, that this postpartum visit becomes a normalcy, that no one will think is something extraordinary, but is something that is expected and something that it is critically needed. So I am just so grateful for the partnership, for having women in the legislature who, I am not an expert in this. I don't have a science background, but I will tell you, I'm the first state senator in the history of New Jersey to give birth while in office, and if it were not for having someone who had the experience that I had, pieces of legislation like this wouldn't move forward. And that's the critical need of always having an inclusive table that brings everyone to the table. And this administration, regardless as to whether if they're working on policy or on regulations or an executive order, extends itself to be sure that everyone's voices are heard. So thank you for your partnership, and I am just so grateful that my second child will be delivered today in the state of New Jersey, in the greatest city in the Garden State, the city of Newark. Thank you very much.
Love that. Were you making news there? Or?
No, I'm 47, so they would get really big news. Referring to the bill.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. We would not be here today without you, Teresa, so thank you. Let me flip over, Arthur, to you, if I may. You see this real time, up close and personal. what impacts do you see on the families you work with in home visiting? And just for you as a nurse, what does it mean to be able to engage moms and families in their home, on their home turf? And thank you for everything today, and thank you for your fellow leaguers for hosting us so graciously today.
Thank you very much, the Governor and the First Lady of New Jersey. We'd like to thank you for allowing the leaguers to be part of this wonderful event, and especially this bill. I would like to extend the greetings from our board chair, Loranda Reed, and our Chief Executive and CEO, Veronica Ray. I'd like to extend their greetings to you. We have had both negative and positive impacts in regards to the home visiting. First of all, when we start the home visit, we realize the financial hardships that some of them are facing based on their background. Those who are undocumented, those who are documented, they find themselves homeless as well. So when you look at the range of the age from 18 to above, let's say 40, you realize that a lot of them have different situations that they go through. You know, when it comes to health equity, it's not equal. You know, some of them struggle to get access to health care. So when we do the home visits, as time goes on, we identify positive outcomes. So those positive outcomes, we realize that by providing the necessary health information about their prenatal care, it creates more awareness to them, for them to notice that it's really important to take care of themselves and the baby as well. They get to be regular on their doctor's visit as well. They become more aware of the signs and symptoms that they should take care of. And then it creates healthy birth. So, and one great thing with this program that we do is that even after birth of the child, we have a continuous program up to 5 years. You know, so we continue to work with the mother and the family. So when a child enrolls in the program, it's the entire family that enrolls. When we go to the home visits, we don't only sit with the mother. You know, if it is a husband, if the husband is there, we call him to the table, and we also understand what is going on. If it is a single mother, we find who is their supporting partner in the house. It can be the grandmother, a sister, or a brother, or somebody else, or somebody else from the family. And then we all sit together to do those kind of education, which it helps because it creates a healthy beginning to the end after birth. And then it also reduces the postpartum depression, because once they have received all that education, it reduces the kind of depression that they get. When it comes to the engagement, it is wonderful. When we join them, when they invite us to their program, it is trust. You know, they give us the level of trust. And for someone to give you the level of trust to invite you into their home, we don't joke with that, because if you lose it, you can lose it in a second. You know, so we make sure that we share education, the knowledge and skill with them, so that they can be able to self-care themselves. You know, and then they also know the resources also in the community as well. So by doing so, we increase their level of literacy, and everyone in the community's level of literacy, health literacy, is not equal. So for us going home, we have to identify their level of literacy so that we can adjust to their understanding, so they can understand the healthcare services are available. Some of the education activities are, you know, stop smoking, secondhand smoking, you know, and then we also try to educate them also on safety measures, like car safety, not going to the stove, you know, when your gas is on, and then, the stove, gas stove is on, and then the heater. If you have a heater in the house, especially during the winter time, also prevent those kind of hazards as well. So there's a lot that we educate them. And the one key thing also that we educate them on is that we also teach them about the right nutrition intake. Right nutrition intake. So there is a lot that we do. So when we go in, what makes us happy or make the nurse happy is that we are able to enhance the quality of life of the children, the family, and the mother, you know, through diverse programming, through educational cultural background to promote self-growth in them, and then also to empower the parent, because we want to advocate for them, and we also want them to also be their own advocate as well. So those are some of the things that we love to do.
Well framed, Arthur, and you're at the point of attack. And by the way, the elephant in the courtyard, so to speak, is all of this is being done in the midst of a pandemic, right? And sadly, we're still in it. And Sharif knows this because he's been coordinating the entire North Jersey hospital response. We have over 1,000 cases today for the first time in many, many weeks. Our positivity rate is just under 5%. This is still with us. This gives me the opportunity to beg you all out there watching, please get vaccinated, right? Please get vaccinated. The vaccines work, they're effective, and they're in particular effective against the Delta variant, which is the overwhelming version of COVID that we have in the state right now. Probably based on sequencing, 90% of the virus right now, I think you'd probably agree, Sharif, is Delta. These vaccines work against it. It doesn't mean you can't get it. That's not the important point, but it does. They will keep you out of the hospital, and with 99.99% certainty. We head to yesterday, based on the CDC's move, and I know it's not necessarily popular, but it's the right thing to do. We had to go to strongly recommend masking when you're indoors and you're not able to determine whether or not the people around you are vaccinated. So I'll give you an example. We were at a public place for dinner last night. We knew the couple we were with are vaccinated, so we had our masks on as we walked into the venue, sat down, took them off, put them on again when we went to the restroom, put them on again when we left, but we weren't wearing them at the table. We felt very comfortable with that. That's the sort of behavior that we need to adopt, and it's not a forever and for always. We're going to get through this. We've gotten through this multiple times already, and we're going to get through this now. Arthur, thank you again. We got a couple of more important speakers. Right to your left, Shanique is up next. Assemblywoman, you have been previously publicly mentioned the health challenges you faced as a new mom as well. From your perspective, personal as well as from one of our great legislators, why is this bill important to you, and what do you want new mothers and families to know about the opportunity that these services provide? Great to have you.
Thank you, Governor. I don't know if you could say new mom, but I've been a mother for the last 22 years. So over 22 years, I've been a mother of 4 children, and you consider them stair-step babies. I delivered all 4 by cesarean birth, and back then, I wish that these services was available. So can you imagine delivering C-section babies? You have 2 maybe running around trying to breastfeed, no resources. You have your husband working, family trying to come over, help out every once in a while, but not sure if you're feeding the baby correctly, but you're just trying to do your best. Not sure if you're going through postpartum because it's like a taboo. You don't have that postpartum conversation. And as being an African-American mother, you say, you know what, you're superwoman, right? You just deal with it. You don't have these conversations. So you deal with everything, just dealing with all of the problems that you have. You're just dealing with it and not explaining to no one that you're having these issues. So the thing for me was, when Senator Ruiz introduced this bill, I started going over it, and I'm like, wow. Oftentimes I was going through postpartum, didn't know I was going through postpartum, never reached out for help because I had to deal with it. So 47 years ago, my husband's mother died days after giving birth to him. So this legislation is definitely important to not just myself, to my family, for so many members in the community, because if the resources that we have now and what we're doing today, she may have been alive today if we have had the resources 47 years ago today. So this legislation would have definitely impacted so many different lives. Maternal health outcomes would have been different. So mothers and families, you are not alone now. It's resources out here. It's nurses that will come out and provide resources, breastfeeding options. You don't have to do it by yourself. The state is here for you. We are here for you. Nurses are here for you. So thank you so much, Governor. Thank you so much, First Lady Tammy. And thank you to my senator, my friend, my colleague for championing this bill throughout our state and for the last several years. Thank you.
Shanique, I did not know that about your mother-in-law. God bless her and God rest her soul. And I'll bet you're right. Without knowing the specifics, I'll bet you if it were to happen in an environment that this bill will create, she may still be with us. So she is in our prayers. Thank you for everything you do. Last but not least, the woman three to my right, the Department of Children and Families has made incredible strides over the past several years on supporting families to be safe, to be healthy, to be connected. In particular, Christine, any observations you've got generally, but in particular, what are some of the benefits that you see of home visiting in the prevention of things that folks don't want to talk about a whole lot, child abuse, child neglect, etc.? Thank you for your leadership.
It's just not working. Okay.
Give us 1 second in this flawless technical production just to find our footing.
So thank you. It really is exciting to be here today, and it's a great day for New Jersey families. And so much of what we've already heard around the table, I think, gives testament to why this is so important and how excited we are at the Department of Children and Families to be able to take on this responsibility for the state. You know, home visits really are recognized as cost-effective means of promoting infant and child health, preventing maltreatment, improving family functioning. And in New Jersey, we've been lucky because, unlike other states, we actually do have a pretty robust home visiting network that's been in operation for a number of years, probably a decade or more. The problem is that it's served so few women, and that it's probably less than 10% of the births in the state are served by our current home visiting network. And the focus on early intervention is so important because infants are at greater risk of child abuse and neglect than older children. There have been many studies, randomized clinical trials that show that evidence-based home visiting programs reduce abuse and neglect, reduce repeat maltreatment, and also reduce and lower investigations of maltreatment. So there was a 15-year study of nurse-family partnership programs that determined 48% reduction in rates of child abuse and neglect among low-income families. So research shows that home visiting programs help parents increase positive parenting actions and reduce negative ones, have more positive interactions. I could go on, but what I will say is that by expanding access to home visiting prevention strategies, we're potentially supercharging our prevention network within the state. And the universality ensures that all families have equal access to the same critical resources and supports without stigma that will enhance the health and well-being of the entire family. So when I think about my own childbirth experience and my own early parenting experiences, I realize how little I actually knew, and I was winging it most of the time, even with a big family and full support. And so I think you're right, Senator, that having early conversations with medical community or with nurses really would have made an impact, because I would have felt that I was doing it right, or that my children were growing and developing in the way that I hoped that they would. And so I know that I could have benefited from a home visitor at that time. So I just want to thank you so much, Governor and legislature, and some of our DCF staff are here, and our stakeholders, and there are some of our home visiting providers and advocates in the audience with us today, as well as all of our families. And so I just want to say how proud I am to be part of this historic event, this administration, and really helping to improve the lives and the births and and the growth and development of children in the state. So thank you.
You. Couple of quick comments before we sign this thing into law. We have a dear friend who's a retired union leader, a woman who's recounted to us the other day that when she had her son, and he's now grown, so this is many years ago, her thought was when they were leaving the hospital, she said to herself, I can't believe that they're letting me take him home. To your point, I mean, we had this experience. It's a lot of, wishing and hoping that you make the right call. And I need not say that to a group of mothers up here. So hats off and amen to that. I also want to thank the legislators for putting money in the budget that I signed. So it's the money that's going to get this thing off the ground. And Christine made the very good point. We are already a rare state that has this existing as it is. The problem is it doesn't touch enough people. And as Tammy reminds me, the fact that it's free, doesn't care about your immigration status, doesn't care about your insurance status, doesn't care where you live. It's free. Now, it's going to take us a few months to get this thing up and running, so bear with us. And it's going to be one of these things where a little bit of time, and then over time, the scale broadening dramatically until we're covering everybody. The word universal is the not just in name, but in fact, over time, this will be universal. With that, may I get the magic box here? Thank you, Matt. Matt is our director of sound. Matt, that was extraordinary. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Matt's actually a councilman from Greenbrook, so I have to treat him with some more respect. Let me read, if I may, the synopsis. This is Senate Bill number 690. The name right at the top of the list of sponsors is Senator M. Teresa Ruiz, and a couple of names down, Assemblywoman Shanique Spate. And I also want to give a shout out to Senator Joe Vitale, Assemblywoman Valerie Veneri Huddle, and Assemblyman John Armato. Those are the main sponsors of this. And the synopsis of the bill, it establishes statewide universal newborn home nurse visitation program in DCF, and it appropriates in this budget, in this bill, $2.75 million to get this thing off the ground. That's pretty cool. This is the money shot. I will admit to you, I can't see a thing, but this will look good for somebody. Okay. Say the 29th. First pen goes to the woman to my left, the First Lady of the great state of New Jersey, Tammy Murphy. Congratulations. Well done. I typically don't kiss a lot of people I hand pens to, so that's... That was, first pen was to the woman to my left. The second pen is to the woman to my right. Sunmi Adedonkan, God bless you. And by the way, how well behaved have the kids been today? This is extraordinary. Including several behind the cameras in the audience. Wow, Sunmi. God bless you. Thank you so much. Next one, it goes to the woman to my left, Hypatia Ramirez Lala. Hypatia, God bless you. Senator, Newark's own Teresa Ruiz. Assemblywoman Shanique Spate. Shanique. One of our hosts, and again, I cannot say enough things about our respect for the Leaguers. You do extraordinary work. So to team leaguers, thank you for everything you've done. In many respects, you've been out there kind of on your own. In a different way to say it today, we're bringing in the Army to stand with you, to do all alongside you, to do all the great work you've been doing. Let's give it up for the Director of Health and Nutrition, Nurse Arthur Nabi. Arthur. Commissioner of the Department of Children and Families, Christine Norbert. Thank you. And she's not up on the stage with us, but she is every bit a leader in the 29th Legislative District. She is the chair of the Budget Committee, so this money doesn't get to my great leadership. Assemblywoman, Chairwoman Ileana Pintor-Marin. And I can say with great pride, probably as much pride associated with this bill as any I've signed, this is now the law of the land. Can we get a team shot? I think I'm going to come to you. Would you mind going this way for a picture? Would that be okay? I think the fact you've got two of your kids here, you win the... no, you can sit here for one. I'm going to stand here. Arthur.